All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Another little project I'm working on, the 750. I'm going to keep it. It's fine. I'm getting all my accessories put on right now. As you know, I like to fish. I put the pole holders on my new trike, but the baskets are different. Not as tall, so I have nowhere to attach them really to, like this was. This was set up pretty well for that. And what's crazy is it's the basket that's on there is smaller than this one. A Yeti cooler fits right in there, but this cooler is really heavy. And once you put ice in it, it's a lot heavier. What I'm thinking of doing is putting a platform on here, taking this basket off, and putting a full-size cooler on there. Not a full-size, but one of them I've had sitting around that fits in that space, lighter than this basket. That cooler is lighter than this basket. So for me to have that cooler there, I need a platform to put it on. And you'll see that fits in there just fine. Clears the sides. Yep, push it over a little bit. And it clears the battery. And I can still open it. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pole holders on the front of this cooler. I'm going to drill holes through this cooler and put that pole holder on here. I went to West Marine the other day and they were out of those. It was called Black Tip. And they had another one that was really cheaply built. So I passed on that. So I'll order another one, but I want to take this off and put it on there. And then I'll put the other one back on here. I really like the front basket on this too. It's not as long as this. I don't know about you guys, but when you're trying to get out of a certain space, the front of this basket will hit things. I think it's a little longer. We'll see when I mess with it later. Also gonna do is cut out a hole so I can get to these brakes because the basket has that there, but you can barely get to it. Let me put that basket back on and I'll show you. The other day when I was cleaning them, I had a hard time getting them out of there. I put that basket right where it's supposed to be. As you can see, it's hard to get in there. I think I was last talking to you about buying a piece of plywood. And of course, putting a piece of plywood on there, you would need to seal it. Otherwise, it'd just rot and soak up water. So I looked up this PVC board. This is 1/4 inch. They have a 1/2 inch, but this stuff is really tough. I mean, you can't bend it. I measured it out the other day and cut this piece out. I think it's 16 by 21. And this is between this board and that cooler, it's probably either equal to this or lighter. I wish they'd have made these out of aluminum. The steel, I don't know why they made them out of steel. Could have made them out of aluminum. It would have helped a lot with the weight of these bikes. The front and back are both steel. So I cut this out. They're not hitting those bars, but they're close. And they're close to the fenders. And what I did is I measured the bottom of this cooler out so that it's left a little bit on the sides there so that I can put a little stopper all the way around the back piece of it and these sides and leave this empty. Anything that gets in here won't drip. Will splash over onto the bike. When I got this little level out and I looked and it showed that it was negative leaning toward the bike. So I've gone off and got some replacement screws and a spacer. And when I bring it up a little bit, as you can see, I want it to run off the back. Stainless steel. These are M5s. They're 10/32 in standard, and then M5 in stainless. I've got like 1 inch for the rear, and in the front where I'm going to space it out a little bit to bring it. I thought this would work out to where it goes through the board and then into the bike, and there's just enough threads showing to go into the frame of the bike. And this stuff's pretty tough. I would have loved to have gotten a pan head for this so that it didn't hit the bottom of the cooler, but I'm thinking I'm going to put a mat down anyway. What I did the other day is I got it situated where I want it. I don't like the idea of it coming way over the tail light, but you'll still be able to see the tail light under there. But there it is again. Any water that drips off here won't be dripping on the tail light. If you were to make it smaller, I could, but, and there it is again. The Yeti cooler I can put on there to go to the grocery store and get groceries. But this cooler I picked this up probably for nothing. Somebody gave it to me or whatever. Will be better for fish. If you saw before when I wasn't catching any fish, I just had a canvas cooler to put on there, and it just wasn't big enough. I get a nice redfish. I don't want to be bending it in half to put it. I want it to be able to fit in here pretty well instead of bending it up. It's still going to bend up here good, anything over 18 inches. Anyway, so what I did is I got it in place, measured it out on both sides, and this stuff being a little bit soft as it is, I held it down and beat my hand all the way around it. And what that did, you can see it left the indentions here from where these are. And that's where I'm going to drill it out to put the screws through. So that's our next step, is to center those as best as possible. I'll just use a Phillips screwdriver for now to put the point on there to get the drill bit in. And try and get as centered as possible on those. Wow, I'm getting good at it. The first one wasn't great. Alright, let's see. Yeah, that just does fit. That's perfect. The fun part will be lining this up with the spacers on it. I may have to tilt it up to do it. And what I'm going to do is cut this out so I can get to the brakes and not have to take this off every time. With the holes matched up, what I'll do is mark this. So maybe I'll cut up here a little bit more so I can get in here. There. So that's what we need to cut out. Let me find a straight edge. There it is right there. That would work. So yeah, I paused it so you didn't have to see the frustration I was going through getting these little boogers out of here because they like melt in there. Anyone that's used these know, even with wood, it's always a pain. So what I want to do is jigsaw that out. Now, I'm going to show you something. Well, maybe it does. Can you see the crack that runs all along the side of this, all the way up to here? So much force was put down on it. Yeah, and it's cracked on the other side too. Look at that. Let's see if this works. Unbelievable. Yeah, this blade's old. You'd think that'd fall out, but this stuff melts. Oh, there you go. So we can clean that up. Just make sure none of that falls in there. Now, I'm worried about water getting in here. Like I say, I'll put a mat in here of some sort and keep the maybe up off the edges to keep the water from getting in there. And one of the other problems, even if I use that other basket, is that I put this rack, I got really lucky with this rack because surf rods a longer handle. And what you worry about is when I go in certain places with it hanging there, that it could hit something. What I'll do is I'll measure it out on that cooler with the new handle so that it stays up a little bit higher. That other basket, I'd have never been able to put that on there. what I've gone ahead and done is I sanded all this, and the trim pieces, we're going to adhere those to this board. I've got this PVC vinyl fence cement. Let's go ahead and get that right to the edge. It says hold it down for 10 seconds. I don't know, that seems to be holding pretty good. Let's do this side. More or less use it like a caulking in here. Let's go ahead and seal that edge. Like a caulk, huh? Yeah, that one's on there. That's not coming off. They're really stuck on there. That's pretty cool stuff. And I think what else we'll do, just to make sure it stays on there real well, go ahead and put some screws in here too to help hold that on there. I bought some stainless steel screws here. Yeah, we'll just put a couple on each side. And let's see if these screws will go in okay. Got pan head stainless steel screws. Should be just fine right there. Make sure they're not going through. There we go. And none of them came through. But man, that vinyl stuff, that's pretty cool. It's still a little tacky. I saved you all the painting. But I've got it all painted up. Sanded all this down. That's not the most perfect piece. And that vinyl stuff holds really well. Put the bike up in the air on my jack stands in the cooler under the front so I can see underneath there a little bit better instead of getting on the ground. Funny thing, the other day, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm looking and I'm going, wait a minute. The fenders, they don't seem right. Let's say 13 and a half. And that one's at 15. Like an inch off. And I kept looking and I'm going, oh, did I screw them in all the way? And then I got to looking and it just, what it is the tabs that are on this tube itself are off. And so somehow they got their welds a little messed up, but that's not what we're here for. This is going to be the fun part. I kind of thought about it. I wish I had some grease here because this has to go in the board itself, this does, and then this has to go underneath and this has to go on and stay there when I turn it upside down and not slip off. I mean, I'd love to pick the bike up and turn it upside down and do it that way, and I probably could, but there it is again. I'd hit everything on here. I'd have to take everything off. I mean, I could lean it all the way back. I'd have to have somebody hold it. So I'm going to try and do this without assistance. What I thought about is, okay, here's the front. It has to go on like that. And what I'm thinking, what I can do is use some Vaseline on the screw. I tried to get this threaded. They do make these threaded, but they're standard. They're not metric. Go figure. So let's, guess what we could do is take some of this Vaseline, put it on the washer. Pretty wild, huh? Put the screw through, the washer down on there, push it down, push that all the way down, and we'll try to get this lined up. I got the first one and the second one. There you go. They stayed on there. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Don't think I need to put all of them in there, but we shall see. These line up too. There you go. Just gonna snug them for right now. It just gives me, I'll put them right over them bolts. That gives me a little bit more than that basket. And there you have it. There. For now, I do want it back a little bit. It still opens up enough. And if you have to move it back, boom, you can. And with this being on there, if there's a lot of water in it and it's sloshing around, it's gonna drip down the sides. And what if you look back at my other videos to where I used a lot of these mats. These mats I got, you can even see the imprints where it's been in my front basket from the net sitting it. And these are waterproof. I'll try and find a full sheet to put on here to where I can put the cooler down in here like so, to where any of the water that comes out of the seams, because these aren't airtight like your other like your Yetis are, any water that comes out of there, it will go out, and I'll leave it overrun the back here a little bit and it will drip off. And at the same time, it will close up this hole. So hey, thanks for all the new subscribers. I've got a lot of good questions on stuff that I've been doing. A lot of great comments, and I'm going to try and keep going here.